So to me, there is no issue with cholesterol. And because there is no issue with cholesterol, the whole LDL HDL thing, and this is going to be a bit of a mind shift for some people as well. If you stop talking to me about cholesterol and you start talking to me about HDL, LDL, chylomicrons, triglycerides, which are VLDL by another name, then we're not having a conversation about cholesterol anymore. We're having a conversation about lipoproteins. So are you now worried about lipoproteins, or are you still worried about cholesterol? Because if you're worried about cholesterol, I really don't think you need to be. And then when people start saying, oh, well, okay, I'm not worried about total cholesterol, but I'm worried about LDL cholesterol, but I think HDL cholesterol is really good. It's like they're the same substance. The chemical formula for cholesterol is C27H46O. And there is no good or bad version. Cholesterol is cholesterol is cholesterol. So in lipoproteins, we should probably quickly explain what lipoproteins are. So if I took my beaker of, put it in camera here, if I took my beaker of water here and I got some olive oil and I drip some olive oil in the water, it won't mix because fat and water don't mix. That's the analogy for blood being water and the olive oil being lipids that need to travel around our bloodstream to reach the cells to do their vital work. So the body has come up with this fantastic system, and it says, okay, we're going to have these things called lipoproteins. I think of them as taxis. And these little taxis are going to go in the bloodstream to transport the vital cargo, and they're going to be water friendly on the outside for the blood, and they're going to be fat friendly on the inside for the lipids. And those lipoproteins are all carrying cholesterol, phospholipids, triglycerides and protein, all of them, just in different amounts. So the HDL is just a high density lipoprotein. It's just smaller than the LDL, which is a low density lipoprotein. So it's less tightly compressed. They have different amounts of cholesterol, different amounts of protein, triglycerides and all the rest of it, but they're both just taxis, and they're both taxis that carry cholesterol. So why, yeah, there you go, brilliant. And that's not a bad size dimension as well. So someone has done that to size. So the chylomicron, which is the one when you've eaten your lovely steak and you've got some saturated fat, monounsaturated fats, polyunsaturated fats, but more importantly, you've got the fat soluble vitamins and nutrients. The chylomicron is the one in the lymphatic system. The body will package those nutrients out onto the chylomicrons, and they start going off around the body with the intent of dropping off that cargo to the cells that need it. Now, in a separate universe, the liver is making very low density lipoproteins. They're also called triglycerides, which gets a little bit confusing. So the liver's making the VLDL. Now, VLDL, as part of its process, kind of shrinks, keeping it simple, shrinks down to what we call intermediate density lipoproteins, IDL. They then shrink down and they become LDL. Now, some people then say, oh, so okay, so if your VLDL goes up, then your LDL will go up. Now, Dr. Malcolm Kendrick, who's studied this more than anyone else I know, he's devoted his life to looking at what really causes heart disease. He say, well, actually, that is not the case. The amount of VLDL that you have doesn't actually determine the amount of LDL you have. So that's another issue for another day. The idea that HDL, another taxi, is good, but all those taxis to the left are bad, is just nuts. It's back, we were only in Mad World, insane, this doesn't make sense. A couple of minutes ago, we're back in Mad World, insane, it doesn't make sense. They're just taxis. The body didn't design 4 bad taxis and 1 good taxi. They are all made by the exquisite functioning of the body for very, very good reason. So the VLDL is taking cargo away from the liver, and it shrinks down to become IDL and LDL. So kind of think of LDL as the taxi that's taking stuff to the cells, and then the HDL taxi will be picking any stuff not used up by the cell and taking it back to the liver. Now again, if cholesterol was so deadly, why would it take it back to the liver? It doesn't excrete it from the body, doesn't treat it like a waste product, takes it back to the liver where it can be recycled and then packaged out again. So I want to sort of scream at people sometimes. They talk about cholesterol and then they just slip into LDL and HDL seamlessly. It's like, whoa, right, we're not talking about cholesterol anymore. We're talking about lipoproteins. So what's your beef with lipoproteins? Tell me, what's your issue with lipoproteins? Because you are no longer in the diet, heart, fat, cholesterol hypothesis. You are now arguing with me on lipoproteins. And so you've got to forget cholesterol and you've got to tell me what your issue is with lipoproteins and why you think you know better than the body, because the body has designed all of that, and that's how we've lived since we became humankind. And you're now trying to block that pathway. You're now trying to say that some of those are bad and some of those are good. And then you get people going into, oh, and then you've got small, dense LDL, and then you've got large, fluffy LDL, and all that kind of thing. It's like, apart from the fact, I now really just want to find a wall and start banging my head against it. And like, could that be, are we going to get to peak stupidity in this podcast at some point? Apart from that, you're back talking about lipoproteins. So, okay, but stop talking about cholesterol. People, they don't even understand what they're talking about. They, when you sit down with your doctor and you have a blood test, I mean, I don't, because it's just too stupid. I upset myself. But I did once for a company medical, and a doctor's saying to me, oh, your bad cholesterol is really low and your good cholesterol is really high. And I'm like, I'm the maths graduate from Cambridge and you're the medic, and that's just come out of your mouth. I mean, like, guys, this is nuts. This is nuts. Right, should we try and not say this is nuts too many more times during whatever time we've got left?
Well, I appreciate